Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajaman Harana Bhava Bhaya Darunam. Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajaman Harana Bhava Bhaya Darunam. Navakanjalochana Kanjamukhakara Kanjapada-kanjarunam. Kandarpa-ganita amita-chavinava-nila-niraja sundaram. Patapita-manahu tadita-ruchi-shuchi Naumi Janaka-sutavaram. Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Ram Ram, Siya Ram. Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Ram Ram, Siya Ram. Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajaman Harana Bhava Bhaya Darunam. Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajaman Harana Bhava Bhaya Darunam. Navakanjalochana Kanjamukhakara Kanjapada-kanjarunam. Kandarpa-ganita amita-chavinava-nila-niraja sundaram. Patapita-manahu tadita-ruchi-shuchi Naumi Janaka-sutavaram. Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Ram Ram, Siya Ram. Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Ram Ram, Siya Ram.
Last Satsang? You go when? Saturday, Sunday?
Sunday morning 3 a.m. Tomorrow 11 p.m. I have to.
Ramji, please forgive any foolishness that arises from here during satsang. Bless all those who have gathered in your name. May the revelation of Atma Darshan come to all of them. May your light, may your love, may your peace spread in all their lives. May they have peace, may they have joy, and most importantly, may they have you. I'm audible on Zoom. No matter what we get in Maya, and no matter how much of it we get, it doesn't feel that our heart feels rested. There is full contentment, full shanti in the receiving of things of the world. So true peace, true rest is received only when we start to live in His love, in His presence, sitting at His feet, holding His hand, making Him our beloved, serving Him. But we cannot full-heartedly serve two masters at the same time. We cannot serve Maya and at the same time expect to serve God. Now the thing is that if you serve Maya, you will be far from serving God. But if you serve God, then everything that is needed, not wanted, but needed, in the realm of Maya also is given to us by the Lord Himself. Much more, in fact. That's why the story of Sudamaji is very beautiful, because he went to meet his friend. His wife wanted financial support and other support. But when he met his friend, he could not get himself to ask him for something. And that is God's mercy on him. Because if he asked for something, given that our intellect in the human condition is very limited by constraints and belief systems. So, Sudamaji may have asked for a diamond ring, something small, a better house to live in. But because he just met his friend in love and made himself available to the Lord, in fact gifted him his favorite pohe, rice, and didn't ask for anything in return. then the Lord took much better care of him than Sudamaji's mind could ever imagine. And because Maya is not a separate force from God, Maya is just God dressed up in the form of this trickster, and we cannot say really why he chooses to dress up like that, but we may speculate that it is because he is teaching us how to love him, he is teaching us how to return to him, he is teaching us to recognize our oneness with him, and at the same time our servitude, our devotion to him. So what if, like Sudamaji, we could also visit him? We could also meet him. So coming to satsang is coming to the learning in the heart, the growing in the heart, the growing in faith, to learn how to meet him in the truest way. You see? Because for him it is not difficult to reveal himself in Maya. But then we may not learn how to meet him beyond Maya. So the sages across the centuries, across the continents, across religions, across traditions, across every barrier, who have undertaken this inner journey of meeting God, have told us that he delights to live in our heart. So we don't even have to walk outside our room. We don't need to go anywhere. But I would say that for many of us, the inner journey seems more difficult than the outer one. You see? And therefore, if the outer journey helps in us undertaking the inner one, then that is fine. But we are told that he is Hridaya Nivasi. In all bhajans, in all satsang, we are told that he lives in our heart. If he is so intimately living here, why is our life still a struggle? Because it is what appears to us phenomenally which seems more tangible to us. Substance seems to be given to that which is sensorially perceived, and substance seems to be given to that which our mind is thinking, to our judgments, to our conclusions, to our ideas about everything. So if we remain involved in what our senses are showing us to be the world, and what our mind is interpreting our life to be, and what our mind is interpreting the world to be, then where are we creating the space to meet him in that deeper place, which we call the heart? It is not the physical heart, it is not the emotional heart, it is not even what we may call the astral heart, astral body. Deeper than all of this, it is not the heart chakra, it is none of those things. It is the very core, the very center of our being, our very existence. And if we don't empty ourselves of the me, of the identity of the me, then we will not make the space to meet God. Because the sages have told us that the lane is very narrow. You see? So now, on hearing this, many of us say that yes, I want to make the space to meet God one day. Huh? But it cannot be about that one day. It has to be moment to moment right now. In this moment, who does your heart belong to? You see? Who does your heart belong to? Does it belong to the fictional ego, the me identity? Yes. How do you know who it belongs to? You know. Yes. How do you know? What are you responding to? What is filling you up? Is it relationship, money, body, and intellectual understanding? Or is it spacious, allowing Him to flow His grace upon you? You see? So, now this moment to moment remaining empty for God seems very difficult for us because our entire conditioning, maybe for many lifetimes, is to fill ourselves up with worldly things and concerns and attachments and all of these things. So, it seems very difficult. For those whom it doesn't seem difficult, that is good. Stay empty, it is fine. But don't fool yourself. Because many times we get into this idea that I am empty, but we are full of many topics, and many times a new topic has been added to it, in fact, which is called empty. हाँ? So Bhaiji says that हम विषय रहित रहना चाहते हैं, पर एक्चुअली हमने एक और विषय उसमें जोड़ लिया है, वो उसका नाम है विषय रहित. So I don't need to translate, I just said in Hindi what I already said. So make sure that our remaining empty, our remaining open is true, and not that now we have a notion of being empty. You see? So if this is seeming difficult, then just find yourself more and more falling in love with God. How do you love God? Now, old friend calls you after 5 years. And the friend says, I really love you a lot. And you say, in 5 years you've not remembered me once. So I don't buy your story of you loving me a lot. Yaad to kiya nahi. But the stories are about love. So if you haven't remembered, then what love are we talking about? So in that there is a clue for us. How to love God is to remember Him more and more. You see, or whichever aspect appeals to you, remember her more and more. You see? So the sages have told us we must remain in constant remembrance. But while that constant is happening, as much as we can. As much as we can. What does that do to you? We've talked about it. Now, if you say, I'll repeat this example, some of you are new, so you may not have heard it. So, if you say mango, You see? And you stay with that. You start thinking mango, imagining mango, you start tasting mango, you may start getting memories of mango when you eat, you might start remembering your hometowns where mango is there. You see, so all our layers of our antakarna, all our layers get aligned to that remembrance of mango. If you remember a young child, we met a young child the other day, Shivansh. Not Shivansh or Shivang, one of the names I'm forgetting. So, uh, if you just remind yourself of his name, then his sweet face will come into memory, what he was doing will come into memory. You may feel that affection towards him, that love towards him. You may feel all of that. Now, the beauty of this is that through the mouths of the sages and through the incarnations being born themselves, we know how to remember God through His name. Is it? So, when you say Rama, Krishna, Hari, you say Devi, you say Radha, you say Jesus, you say Allah, is it? You have been given a way to remember Him. Isn't that such a great gift? What happens when you say Ram, and I'm using Ram as a representative example, take like Anand Mahima said, I loved seeing that because the mind always creates trouble around this topic. Which name should I take? Which name should I take? Which can I really take this one? Should I take that one? My mind is troubling me all over. So she said, take whichever name of God you want. You see? But it's important to take it. You don't spend 50 years deciding which name is best. So just take it. So what happens when you take God's name? Now we are talking about God here. We are not talking about a human. We are not talking about a fruit. So when we are talking about God here, then our seeming faculties, our seeming capacity doesn't have the potential, doesn't have the power to take us to God by themselves. Through our memory we cannot go to God, through our thinking we cannot go to God, through our senses we cannot go to God, through our emotions we cannot go to God. But all of these faculties can be offered to Him by just taking the name. You see? So when you take God's name, there is great wisdom in your inner instrument called the Antakarna or the soul, and the wisdom of the soul brings us to the doorway where Atma Darshan can happen. And this doorway has been called silence, it has been called stillness, it has been called the holy place. So we are encountering the holy curtain behind which we have been told by everyone that the beloved is. घूंघट के पट खोल तुहे पिया मिलेंगे. You see, in various ways, in various metaphors, analogies, we've been told about this. You see? So it is important for us to stay over there, even if we have to stay over there in full love, in constant remembrance, like Ma Shabri, for 60 years. As much as we can, as much as we can. Because unless, even yesterday, we had this bhajan, we were recording some bhajan in the studio, and then we ended up, by God's grace, attending bhajan so beautiful. And we were reminded that it is very important to come to God in this life, you see, because we've been given a rare opportunity to come to God. So to use God's name or to use the self-inquiry, when you ask yourself, who am I? What happens? The reality of I will not be found in our human faculties. They will be found in the deeper place. By God's grace, it has to be a revelation. So when you ask yourself, who am I? Then the Antakarna takes you to the same place. The inner instrument takes you to the same place. And the more sincerity, faith, intensity, devotion, patience, humility we have in this process, the easier we make it for the process to unfold. What process to unfold? For us to stay in that holy place of stillness. So stillness is not the absence of outer words. Stillness is when we are still, our faculties become one-pointed, ekagrata. It becomes one-pointed and we stay in the heart. So that is stillness. This is how we set the table for the most important dinner guest in the universe, out of the universe. You see? And we need to set this table constantly for the guest to arrive. Then the revelation part is completely up to him. And that is why all the sages have told us the process is that of grace. And they also told us we must do our sadhana and yet the process is of grace. So it's very confusing, isn't it? Is it grace or I must do my sadhana? So isn't my doing my sadhana also grace? We can get into all those intellectual exercises. They are quite fruitless and a waste of time. You see? So better not to do any of that. If it feels like I can get up from here and go to the kitchen, I can do something, I can say these words, then as long as it seems like God is not doing them, I am doing them, use that capacity of doing to turn within. Inward facing is the way to happiness. Antarmukhi sada sukhi. So as long as you feel like you have the capacity to do anything at all, we must do this inward turning. But the process after that is a process which is out of time and space. It is not a process in this universe. You see? So that revelation of himself within our soul will happen only when he wills it to happen by his grace. But don't think of it as some fancy pseudo mechanical force field getting activated or something like that. It's not anything that we can fathom. The darshan of the Atma darshan, is not an empirical scientific process. It is not measurable. It is something which is divine. And therefore the laws of this physical universe don't apply to it. You see? Just like the dream you had last night, the laws of that don't apply to this realm right now. You see? In that dream, giraffes may have been flying, who knows? You see? So that's a different realm. In the same way, where your Atma stays, and the darshan of that Atma is not a process which belongs to this outer appearance. It is beyond Maya. So how to love God? Through this constant remembrance. And when our heart is soaked in love for God, you see, our sages have told us that there is no pushing God to give us darshan. They cannot push, he cannot be pushed in any way, of course. He is the Lord of a trillion universes, as if they are grains of sand. We are, what we take ourselves to be at the moment is nothing at all, hopefully. So we cannot push him, but the sages have given us one trick. You see? Yeah? And the trick is love. Just offer your heart to him in full innocence and love. Then you make yourself irresistible for him to come. So in this constant remembrance is a sign of love. The more you do it, the more love you will feel. Don't worry, there will be times where you may feel a lot of dryness for weeks, aridity. It may feel like, where is the love in my prayer? The mind will try to convince you that you're a fraud, you don't actually love God. All this nonsense will come. Just stay at it. Just stay at it. Don't worry. All this aridity makes us humble, stops us from becoming proud. So allow it to unfold. So remembrance. Then it's all interlinked, but we can say another way to offer our love to God is to make ourselves available to be loved by Him. इसमें आपका हूँ भगवान. I belong to you, Lord. It's a very high prayer. It's a very high prayer. It sounds very simple, but it's a very high prayer. So if you just sincerely, the more you make that prayer, the more you repeat it in your heart, the more true it will become for you. And in that, making yourself available to be loved by God, then sages like Sri Ramakrishna have said that it's like the child holding up its hands, crying for the mother to be picked up, and every mother will answer that call. You see? So if a physical mother will answer that call, our godly mother will definitely answer that call. So in these simple ways of staying with God, of remembering His name, if our temperament is to do the inquiry, then to do the inquiry, and to just offer ourselves up as much as we can. We are noticing in our lives after 14 years of satsang that at this point we are going from just a lip service, armchair spirituality to offering body, mind, emotion, all the layers to God, in service to God in various ways, breaking the fearful nature of self-image, fearful ideas of what people will think of us, and all of this which seems so scary, to let that go and to offer that to God as much as we can. So this constant surrendering, constant offering of ourselves to God in love, staying at the doorway of the heart temple, then that becomes our only job. So way to look at that is to say that there is, then like humble beggars, we sit at the door of Ramji's temple in our hearts. What will happen to our worldly life? That is the fear that takes us. You see, that gets it. But I have a job, I have children, you see, I have all of these responsibilities, all of these things. So the sages have told us a very simple thing. If they said that if somebody just came and sat at your door constantly, you see, so initially you may wish that don't engage with them, they'll go away. But suppose somebody's been sitting there for a week, you see, haven't eaten, haven't done anything. Will you feed them or no? At some point, your compassion will wake up and say, okay, let me at least feed this one. You know, he's sitting at my door. So sages like Bhaiji have told us that if we in our human limited love and compassion also cannot take a brother or sister helplessly waiting at our door hungry and tired, then why do we feel that the most merciful, most compassionate one will not take care of us if we are just lying at his door? So there is no room for this kind of fear. But if we are very attached to my life has to go my way only, then that we cannot have. If you say, yes, I am surrendering everything to God, my life belongs to you, Lord, but my life actually has to go my way only, then that's a hypocritical surrender, isn't it? It's not really surrender. But if you have some trust in this foolish man's words, then just try it out. Just try it out. Surrender your life to Him. That is the only way that the rare opportunity we have received in this lifetime will be fulfilled. It is a zombie life without coming to the Atma. The outer guru is just a bridge to take you to the true inner guru. Because we are attached to physicality at the moment. We only understand phenomena at the moment. Then God sends us some help in the form of an outer teacher to just give us a taste, the fragrance of the inner Sadguru. But our life is not fulfilled till we come to that one inside. And if this sounds scary, let me reassure you that you're taking a half step. You see? Constantly, whatever little we feel we can do. Can I just say Ram? Yes. Do it. You see? I'm busy, meeting is happening. Can I mentally remind myself of him? Yes. In that moment, don't say, oh, I wasted all my time today. Don't waste more time on that. You see? Can I quickly rush back to him? So in these small, little ways, we will make inroads for God in our lives. You see? Otherwise, what happens? I say like this, and the mind will immediately counter it and say, but no, not possible for me because I have job, I have family, I have this, I have that, important things to do. You see? Then the only question is that in this moment can you? In this moment can you? In this moment can you? And if you want to know the truth, then in this moment can you find out who you are? Can you ask yourself the question, who am I? So please don't feel that these two things are different processes. Because the revelation of the I and the revelation of God happens in the same way. They are the same. You see? So if you align yourselves with the truth or with love for God, then in your constant repetition, remembrance, being with God, then within the innermost Garbhagriha, the innermost sanctum sanctorum of your soul, you will come to the revelation of His presence, and through the eyes of His presence, through the eyes of the Atma itself, you will see Him as the Saguna and you will see Him as the Nirguna. There is no getting around this fact that with any sort of eyes, you see, you will not see him. You will only see him through the eyes of the Atma itself. You see? So you cannot bypass this, you cannot circumvent this. You may be the richest man in the whole universe, you may become the king of the world, but you cannot exchange all your wealth for 1 minute of his darshan. One moment also. Because in that realm, all our worldly possessions, all our worldly specialness doesn't mean anything. And that's why where we remember his name in satsangs which are in his name, it should never mean anything. All brothers and sisters should have equal access, should have equal opportunity to sit wherever they want. You see? It should never be based on any worldly consideration. Because the whole point is to get a taste of how it is there. The light coming from there must be reflected here. That's how we'll start to get the scent. So we learn the scent, his scent, by coming to satsang, and then we follow it in our heart. You see? And when the mind tries to bully you out of it, saying this is not right, you're wasting your life, what will happen, all of this nonsense, you are anchored in that fragrance in your heart, and you don't leave. So is it clear to all of us that we must come to Atma Darshan? That is the only fulfillment of this life. I don't want to get into 84,000, 84 lakhs, all those scary numbers. We're not getting into any of that. But this much we have to admit, that our life doesn't seem fruitful. The goalposts constantly keep changing. Earlier, this amount of money we used to think is enough. Now that amount of money we'll think it's enough soon. That will change. Earlier, this relationship with this one will seem to be enough. Then that will seem like a pain, and we don't want it, and we want other relationship. Then that will constantly changing goalposts. You see? So when we are in pain, then the body just free me from this pain. Just free me. I'm talking about myself. Just free me from this pain. That much is enough. When we say, no, I want this healthier body, I want this body, I want like that. You see? So these goalposts will constantly keep changing, because Maya is the number one. Con artist. What is it conning us out of? Time. It is the number one stealer of time. You see? There's time for that. God can wait. Today this is important. You see? All of us know God is very important in our life. But we don't remember it on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour, moment-to-moment basis, because something is always in my eyes seeming to be more important. In this way the whole lives go, entire lives go. So don't waste time, because there is not enough time to be wasted. We did Baba Farid's shlok, and he kept saying, such a great sage, like he kept saying that I only wasted time. If a great sage like Sheikh Farid is saying I only wasted time, I had a few seeds and I just wasted all of them. You see? So that's a cautionary tale for us. Don't waste time. And if you don't waste time, you have nothing to worry about. You see? Yeah? So remember that Maya will not come and say, let's waste time. Come. Chal, we'll come and waste time. You see? It will not come and say, right? It will say, this is very important right now. how did he talk to me like that? That is very important right now. You see, how did she lie to me? That is very important right now. You see, how did my boss behave? How did my subordinate behave? How did my parents do? How did my children do? How did my pets do? How it's constant. Everything is there available. You see, so see, that is very important right now. Really, the alive presence of God who is waiting in your heart. That is not important. You see, we have heard ever since we were children, God is everywhere. God is everywhere. You see? But we normalized it and we just made it some notional, conceptual idea. Where is that our lived reality? Remember that in spirituality, the knowing of a spiritual notion is not to know spirituality. You see, if you have the idea of something, if you have the concept of something, doesn't mean that you know it. You see? Aham Brahman Asmi. Let everybody just know that. Finished. You see, it's not that. No, it's not like studying other topics in school. You say, can you say capital of Tanzania? Can you say what is the longest river in the world? And you have the answer in terms of a concept. You think you know it. You see, in spirituality, the concept is nothing. It is not even the. It's the very, very, very fundamental starting point that has to become our lived inside. You see, it has to be eaten. No? So if you know the full menu, doesn't mean you tasted the food. You see? So many are confusing spirituality also to be like a worldly topic. That I know this scripture, I know this. It's very good to know the scripture. I'm just saying that that is the beginning of spirituality. To know the scripture means I have tasted what Lord Krishna is showing me. Not just read the menu. So if you fundamentally know that it cannot be understood, you understand that it cannot be understood, that will be a good step. It has to be met at a deeper place. It is a form of revelation, not of learnt knowledge. And that should come as a big relief also. You see? So it's not about what can I know more so I become spiritual, what can I know more so that I become spiritual. You see? It's not that. We may probably know enough already. We have to take that medicine. You have to take it. You have to meet God. You have to come to His darshan. You have to come to His feet. So, very important not to waste time. But if you have wasted time, then don't waste more time thinking about why you wasted time. That's the two punch of the combination, boxing combination. You see? Suppose you wasted half the day, and I'm expert at this, so that's why I'm able to report very experientially. Wasted half the day, then the mind will come and say, see, you wasted half the day. You said you have to spend all your time, what a hypocrite you are, you know, all this thing. Just more waste of time, no? It wants to take away the rest of the day also, in all this guilt and unworthiness and all of that. So we have to spot that and say, Ram, Ram, Ram. You see? Okay. I lost the first round to Maya. Now second round is on. I will not spend the second round losing the second round thinking about how I lost the first round. So just whenever we remember Him, He sends His mercy to us. When we remember God is suddenly in the middle of a day, you see, then the sages have told us we must look at that as if He is remembering us and telling us to come. You see? So He sent the signal. Now don't waste time thinking about why you wasted time. return. Because all our I wasted time because are of no value. We may rationalize, we may say, but this, but that, but this and that. It's of no value. We just have to return. So more and more I would like satsang to be focused on Atma Darshan, on Atma Gyan, coming to the presence of the Holy Spirit in our hearts. Because there is no getting around that. And we may speak about a lot of big things, but if we don't come to the Atma, then there is no point. It is adding to our conceptual knowledge. You see? So sometimes if it inspires, maybe something will come. But I just want to know what is the problem you are having after taking the medicine. How is the dosage working? What are the symptoms you are having? You see? What prevents you from taking the medicine? All kinds of questions which are related to this particular aspect of staying at the door of the heart temple. Because without that, nothing is going to happen. You see? So let's make it very focused about coming to Atma, living in its light, and how to not fall for the tricks. Who wants the trickster to fall for the trickster who wants to steal our time from us? That sounds fine? Yes, mic please. Sama.
फादर आपने बोला कि एक मतलब एक चीज़ होती है ओनली खाली
Yes.
और दूसरा जब मैं राम जी को याद कर रही हूँ तो वो खाली मतलब इट्स नॉट ब्लैंड खाली.
Yeah. So, okay, thank you. So, it's okay if I answer in English or I can try in Hindi also. So in empty there is this problem, no? Like we said, one is we can be attached to the notion of empty. You see? So I try to act it out, I do a terrible job of it, but when we're being like open and empty, I'm being so open and empty. Okay? But that is not being empty, because that posture of empty is still there. Secondly, what happens is the other danger, like you use the word khali, the danger of that is we start imagining God to be like a dark, empty space, because our attention withdraws. So when we close our eyes, we come to dark, empty space. Then we try to apply to the dark, empty space. Was I born? Will I die? And we look at the dark, empty space and feel like, no, this dark, empty space was not born. It will not die. Nothing has ever happened to it. Can anything attack it? Nothing can attack it. So all the Advaita question, when we try to, in the Maya trick, when we apply it to this dark, empty space, then we feel like, but this passes all the tests. So this dark, empty space must be Nirguna Brahman. You see, that blankness is not Nirguna Brahman, because that dark is still dark. Darkness is still an attribute, it is a guna. You see, empty is still an attribute, it is a guna, it has an opposite. Dark is the opposite light, empty is the opposite full. So everything that has opposites is a guna, is an attribute. You see? So many times we fall into these traps and we feel like I have to preserve being in that dark, empty space. We think that is awareness. But our question, if we are on the inquiry path, should be who witnesses that dark and empty? Is that also dark and empty? Huh? Don't worry, when you're in satsang, you can listen, don't worry. So who witnesses that dark and empty? That is not dark, it is not empty. So that is the inquiry. But many times when we make the posture of remaining empty, Vishay Rahit, that Vishay Rahit in our minds is not yet Maya Rahit. Okay? We may think we are empty of topics, but the topic empty is still there. The perception of a dark empty space is being taken to be reality, that is still there. You see? So we are not yet free from Maya, because that dark and empty is still Maya only. Now what happens is that if you really manage to remain empty of all of that, then in that holy emptiness, where we are not grasping at anything at all, then we fall into the same place where the revelation can happen. You see? So based on your temperament, you can take God's name, you can do the self-inquiry. If you really feel you can be open and empty, you can use that as the pointer and be empty. But there is no bypass to this road. It has to go to that doorway of the Atma, and the rest of the revelation has to happen in the light of the Atma itself. The Atma will reveal itself, and the Saguna and Nirguna, the Father, Son and the Spirit. The Spirit cannot be bypassed. There was more in that question. I can see.
For example, I say Shri Ram. I say Shri Ram. And then there's this quiet. That is the door.
Then that quietude is the absence of thoughts, or absence of grasping at thoughts? Yes. Yes. That is fine. So that itself will lead you to the place that I'm pointing to. What is important is your intention to be with Him. You see? Now, one child may repeat, Ram, 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 repeat whole day Ram, Ram. The intention is to be with Him. Another child may just use one Ram. But stay in that unbroken connection with Him. No? You see how to put this in words? I don't like that. You feel that connection with Him. So that is as good. When you repeat constantly, it will also bring you to that doorway. You see, if you repeat once, but with love and full sincerity, it may bring you to that doorway. But don't attach any spiritual ego to how many times you have to repeat before you go to the doorway. There is no extra points. I just have to say Ram once and I'm at his door. I have to say for 10 days, then I'm at his door. There is no special pride in that. There's nothing. You see? So as much as you need to not to prevent your mind, prevent Maya from wasting time. It means that you're not getting into me mode. That beautiful line from Ananda Maya is Main Aya. So to keep this me out of the picture, out of the central frame, then as many times as you need to repeat, it's good. My only recommendation is that don't end your prayer thinking that my job is done because I have stopped my repetition now. Is it? So just allow him also to take a few moments at least. Just Ram 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 like that, and okay, done. Let's go. One day, not like that. And then that moment will tell you where to go next, no? Isn't it? So suppose you chanted once or you chanted a million times, then that heart or that moment or something tells us, no? And I don't want to make it sound glamorous. All of us taste this. Like when we hear a bhajan, we just want to, if we love the bhajan, then we just want to keep our eyes closed and sit, and we don't want to be disturbed by anything at all. So that is the moment telling us to stay. Something holy is happening. Something holy is happening. So we don't want to be disturbed. We already recognize all of this in our antakarna. We recognize all of this in our soul. So we just otherwise we may fall into the trap of just a one-sided relationship. I know what I'm doing, I will do, you see, and then I will get the fruits of that, but we never waited for the beloved to respond. Yeah. This crazy idea came to me saying, it won't happen like that. I'm just exaggerating to make the point. But suppose that we are just in this thing, no, that I have to do, like our ego gets attached to something, some achievement. So it's just Ram, 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 Ram. And Ramji is just ready. He is waiting to reveal himself. But we are like, okay, my part is done, I'm going. Just like, that's all we do. And suppose for 10 years he's just been waiting ready, but we never never gave him an opportunity only to reveal himself. You see?
Father,
Yeah.
can I say something?
Yeah.
Or I'm calling all the time God, 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 and
Yeah.
he's answering, but I'm calling God, 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 and I don't hear him, even though he's answering. Because
Even
I'm
though
busy
he.
calling. Isn't possible?
So how you know he is answering?
Or I'm not paying attention because I just calling God, God, God. He's answering. I don't listen to him.
Yes, a little bit we can start. Little. Just it's already because I don't want to get you off track. If you're remembering God so constantly, it's very good. So I don't want to say anything which will get you off that track, off that path. It's already a great blessing for someone to remind themselves of God's name so often in a day. So that is already very beautiful. But just as you end your practice, at least the focus prayer time, then as you end, just give it a few moments to start with, then your heart will start also guiding you. Should I just stay in silence more? Does it feel complete in my heart? All this inner guidance will start to come. Just start with maybe 10 seconds, then see what happens. But don't give up on your chanting God because of this.
No, it is stopping also, not all the time continuing, but yeah.
That's fine.
I'll try my best. I'm trying my best.
Yes. So what happens? You finish chanting and then your mind takes over, or what happens?
Mostly, even the chanting becomes more mind level, and also mind starts to think, let's do this, let's do that. So I go with the mind. Also, sometimes chanting stops, sometimes it stays on the mind level.
So let me share this with everyone. This is very important. The chanting or remembering God's name is the only safe refuge for the mind. Yes, so don't beat yourself up if it is on the mind level. There is no, if it's God's name, it's okay at any level. That is the only okay at any level. Yes. So, firstly, it is that. You will start to notice, and tell me if you're noticing already, that initially, even at the mind level, seemed difficult. So, we had to use a mala or we had to use our lips to keep repeating. Something needed to anchor it. You see? Then it became easier, but it still seemed like I am taking the effort to chant. You see? So this is that I am doing the japa. You see? So that is the very important step. Then what happens is that after we get so used to it, and it's not linear, we'll back and forth in all of this. So, but then what happens after a period of time is that you will notice that it seems like effortlessly my mind is just chanting the Lord's name. So this itself is a very beautiful gift. This is called ajapa japa, which means that we are not doing the chanting, and but the chanting is happening. You see? So that becomes
Sometimes it is also happening
yeah.
because I think this is God's gift to me. I told you also before, my mind is so one of the crazy minds. So this is like the only way, if I keep God's name all the time, I don't pay attention to mind. So it is a gift from God, so I can.
Yes, it's all. I would doubt that your mind is crazier than mine, for example, or I would doubt that. Mind is quite crazy anyway. So then what happens is after it becomes ajapa japa in the mind, then you will find that it falls into the heart, where the prayer initially may be on our lips, on our tongue, then goes to the mind, then feels like my heart is doing the prayer. It's just like the prayer is happening in the heart, it gets deep into the heart. But initially, when it's there, it feels like I need to keep providing it fuel. You need to keep repeating it in the heart. We don't know how we are doing that, how we do it in the heart versus the head. It's not a question of just like trying to force it in the heart or something. We don't have the capacity to do that. It just falls into the heart. It becomes a prayer of the heart. And then it becomes such a way that the heart temple starts resounding with the prayer, with the chant, and you're just hearing it in the heart. So it's like you're in the temple or outside the temple door, but you can hear the resonant chant within your heart. Very, very holy part of the process of taking God's name. I'm not saying any of this for any of us to beat ourselves up, saying why is this not happening to me yet, nor am I saying it so that we can start imagining things happening to us. You see, because when we feel bad, spiritual frustration makes us feel very bad. So then we start getting into all kinds of imaginations and things like that. Neither of these should happen. It's a very natural process which the Atma itself determines for us. So allow it to unfold. We just keep doing our job of remembering God as much as we can. Let God take care of the rest of what has to happen. But if you keep going at it, it is my prediction, blessing, everything that your prayer will fall into your heart and your heart will start to be in this constant remembrance of God in this way. Then there are sweeter and sweeter and subtler experiences that you will have in that. But I don't want to say too much to give you spoilers for this movie. Also, to give any food to your imagination to feed on. So it's best that these things are not spoken about that much. But this, what we shared so far, is safely shared and available across world religions, across spirituality. And same thing will happen with your inquiry also. There will come a point where you don't need to verbally, mentally ask it. Just your posture becomes of that holy looking, that stillness. So just that intention to inquire will bring you to that place of inquiry. It's always, in spirituality, always safer to be humbler. You can never be too humble about your spirituality. So that will keep you safe from the mind's fascinations and fantastical imaginations which will try to distract you. Just humble. Even in the world, it's always safer to be. I would rather make the mistake of overdoing the humility than getting into one iota more of pride. You see, in fact, it's not a mistake. I don't know how it would ever be a mistake. Yes, mic to Akshay.
I also tried you in the recent satsang. You advised to Shiv, taking God's name, like not focusing on continuously taking God's name or focusing on count. Just whenever we take God's name, try to take it with full faith and full love. So I also tried that, and in 1 hour I took God's name only 65 times, but every time I took it with full faith and full love, whatever the capacity, and taking God's name and then staying in that silence. Okay. That really worked.
Very good.
Otherwise, I was like first chanting or first cooking and then eating, but taking God's name once and then staying with that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So, what happens is that we say God's name, full faith, full love, full sincerity. Ram. Actually, I don't know what I'm trying to show in that, but but as long as you're not getting distracted, that your remembrance is not gone from remembering God to remembering me, remembering the me again, then stay in that silence. It's also very good.
Whenever the mind comes back, take God's name again.
Yes. If it is coming back and just offering, but you're able to just brush it off, then no problem.
Yes.
But when it's catching you, that but what about some me topic, then you repeat.
Yes. And one question I had, like, so sitting with eyes closed or eyes open about this. So generally I sit with eyes closed, but past few days the mind was not silent whenever I used to sit. The mind always like no particular topic, but anything, it was bringing anything. So what was happening, then I tried sitting with eyes open. So maybe what was happening, like we do daily task, and then when we sit, that also becomes like some task. Maybe that was happening, or mechanical, like a resolution or something.
Yeah.
So I tried with sitting with eyes open. So then, like without any motive, just looking around,
Yes.
and it may feel like boredom also, but that's the best thing, one of the best thing.
That's very good.
Is it okay to sit
Yes,
like this?
yes. Whatever keeps you in remembrance of God. That's good. Yeah, sometimes it can be like that you're just open to all the stimulus coming. So you're not fighting it with your eyes closed. No? You're just accepting, allow your attention free, and you're just leaving everything unlabeled, uninterpreted. No problem. It's good.
Then my mind.
But don't make a resolution that I have to keep them open only.
Yes.
And either we make the resolution that I have to keep them closed only.
Yes.
Because at some point, if your faculty is all getting pulled in, it may seem natural for the eyes to close.
That also I tried, like
Yeah,
when it's
yeah.
automatically eyes are closing. Like,
Exactly. Then it's very natural.
yes.
Yes.
So without any motive, like that's good.
Exactly.
Just childlike. Huh?
Yes. Childlike. Exactly. Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Very happy. Very good. Please put the mic. Pass the mic. Just tell him how to switch it on.
A dumb question. How to overcome fear?
Not at all a dumb question. One of the mind's, if not the number one trump card, one of the highest trump cards for the mind, for Maya, is fear. You see? Now, fear can be the idea of what will happen, or fear can be a felt emotion. You see, I'm feeling the emotion of fear, or I have this idea what will happen to my family, what will happen to my life, all of these things. So, in this case, if you are attracted, are you attracted to taking God's name more, or are you attracted to inquiry more?
Right now, I'm sort of dwindling between the both.
Yeah, that's fine too. That's fine too. So as long as either is with you, it will help you transcend the fear. You see? So what happens when you are in remembrance of God? You're deepening in your love for God. Now you cannot have love and fear at the same time. You see, it says in the movies also, जब प्यार किया तो डरना क्या? So then, why do they say that? Because it happens naturally. When we are falling more in love, then we seem to get the courage also. You see? So as you're falling more in love with God, in the taking of God's name, and coming more and more closer to the truths with the inquiry, and God and truth are the same, then it will transcend that fear more and more at both the levels. Thoughts will go first, then many times it will feel like, I don't know why I'm getting worried, but there's a sensation of fear is being felt, over there. But just keep saying Ram Ram or whatever practice you're doing, it'll help you transcend it. There's unfortunately, no quick fix solution to it. Can I say that I've fully transcended fear after being in spirituality so long? I cannot say 100%. But is it getting better? Yes. What happens is that by constant remembrance of God, somehow we also learn to deepen in our trust for His grace. कि उनकी कृपा में असीम विश्वास जागने लगता है. That His grace seems like it is taking care of us so well, and that feeling only keeps growing as we stay with Him, as we stay with remembrance of Him. So this part will happen naturally like that. Just remind yourself when your mind is bullying you, just remind yourself that my life is for God, God has blessed me, God has saved me from a very important situation also. So now you have a lot of fuel for loving God. May His blessings, may His grace, may His love always be with you and your family and your friends. Hello. You want to go? There's a chair at the back, or you can come here.
Master,
Yes, okay.
Master, I find that whenever there's like a seeing, um, there is like an energy of like lost or something like that. An energy of lost.
Of loss?
Yeah, like lost.
Lost.
That
Feeling lost?
manifests. Yeah, like lost, like LUST. Um, and I somehow know where it's coming from because of the environment I grew up in, and something was very exposed to like that energy.
Yes.
And I always find that, and for some reason, something was very quick, like a childhood sort of thing. I was always very quick um to just know stuff. So like I just knew. I was very like quick. And although when I was a child, I used to um pray to God and speak to God, but I wasn't really like religious or anything like that. Um Actually I didn't really like being that. I was more like into like my cool friends or my cool guys and this kind of stuff. I was more into that. And some of that is still in me. Um so I see that, but it's not just that. I feel like it's something also from even before this lifetime. This like a Vasanic thing of this energy that is in me. And each time it manifests in me, I always try to like say it to you in like prayer and also speak to God about it and say it to you. But somehow I just felt that it's very important for me to come and just say this to you in this way so that you can bless me as well. Because I see that although it's appearing in the screen of consciousness, it still has a pull in my soul, in me. It has like an energetic pull, and because also of the concepts of, because I don't feel, because when it's always happens like, I don't know if it always happens like whenever like the scene like expand, I just feel like this strong energy of it. And I know that God, I was like saying that if you have to take away everything, take this one quickly. But I know that He's allowing it there for something. Um, this is one of the things that is just allowed to be there. Although like the impact of it, because something is more like detached. 'Cause I'm seeing that I'm also appearing on the screen of consciousness as well. I'm also like an appearance in it. So there is some sort of distance, but it still has some kind of pull. And I just felt to tell you this somehow. It just came that I just have to say this to you. And it's something that I've not somehow been able to like. I can always, it's only you somehow that I feel like can understand like the inner realms of this thing without. I can't really. I've never said this to anyone, but it's just there. It's always been there somehow. This energy, and yes, it's something that's it's always been there in me. Um,
Thank you for sharing that openly, and I can only say that in my case, also, it was many years after the uh, whatever you may call the awakening or something like that happened that uh, many years after that a natural sense of just not engaging in lust, not like a natural movement towards celibacy happened here uh, much later, and it is just God's grace and a deepening in God's love which knew the best timing for this to unfold in this way. So I would say that really, if this sort of energy is there, we don't have to worry ourselves too much about it. It will also be taken care of like everything else in God's grace and God's love. And in a way, these words are coming. I don't want to say too much about it, but that very same energy can then transform itself also into a greater love. So, but allow it to happen organically. Keep offering yourself to God, keep offering it to God as well, and see what is the direction He takes, and when He takes it in your life. But it should not become a topic which we are forcing ourselves too much on. You see, it should not become either a topic of guilt or a topic of unworthiness, or even the idea that it will prevent you from meeting God. Don't allow yourself to get into that. If one day it just comes naturally that you're not interested in this anymore, allow it to come into your heart, but don't make it at the moment, don't make it in opposition to anything which is your spiritual life.
Also, it's like it's just so grateful that you said this. Um, because of the Christian condition that I grew up in, even though there was really a time where I threw the whole thing out. But because because of the it's very like things like sin and this kind of things are very like they are very how can I say dense, more dense, especially in an environment that in the West is more like softer. But the environment where I was in like was more dense and this kind of thing. Especially like when it comes to that aspect like lost and these things. But there is also something it's like it's not just in this a natural biological sense of that which I understand that it's just as the human body grows, these things happen. But there's also a psychological aspect to it, which is what I'm talking more about more. And the images sometimes that the mind can throw, and so there's a fight against that aspect. I know that there's a natural aspect, but it's also like an aspect that is not in service to the truth. But that's what I'm talking about. And it's just there. It's there somehow, and sometimes it goes away for like 6 months, and maybe this is one of the things that really helps me, if there's any humility, to stay like that, because it shows me that I'm not clean at all. And yeah, it's very, maybe I think this is one of the reasons why I feel like God is keeping it in me. Because I somehow still have like this, maybe a conditioning of childhood that because there was a time when I was a child, I was trying one time that let me just stay like one day without sinning, and I couldn't do it. Um, it just couldn't, I just couldn't do it. And I just couldn't do it because I still felt like, apart from what I knew was sinful or towards God, was also, I knew that the sin was not just those 10 commandments, also like different aspects of, even the way of feeling proud that you've done it and all of these things. So just, but you showed me that it's more in your heart and your intention and what you truly chose in your heart. Um, and so when the presence is felt, the holiness, where sometimes something just, because sometimes it's a feeling where like you speak about this thing where like the tortoise legs are outside and then they pull in. Sometimes when that happens, I find that there's no real like, that's actually when I actually feel like the spirit actually does the work. Like when you say like that, when we are empty of ourselves, the spirit does the work in you. That's actually, for me, that's like the most holiest, like it's so holy. And that I see that in that, sometime after that, then the energy of that loss is felt. Like it's felt, it's almost like, where did you come from? Like it just felt inside, and it felt very strongly. And sometimes temptations from the outside also come to like feed it as well. I just felt it was very important to tell you this. And although or when I'm praying, I always say this to you because I know that you live in my heart. But I also felt to tell you this in this way.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy you shared this openly, because many times we get into a fear about talking about these topics, but there's nothing to fear in that. These are very natural things. Now, you very rightly said about two aspects of it. One is the body is designed a certain way, and at a particular age, it may experience some of these things. And the second is the mental, psychological aspect of it. So, as much as possible, as you're staying in God's presence, then you'll be able to spot when it is offering you like a physical replacement for being in God's presence. It offers you this kind of, like, these kind of feelings or this kind of pleasure being a replacement for God's presence. So even though the body may not be um, experiencing some strong feeling in that way, the mind offers these things to as a distraction away from God.
Yeah.
So even with this, gently, notice more and more if it is trying to distract you, and just return to God's presence. Just keep returning to God's presence. And if sometimes you fall into that, that's also fine. Don't beat yourself up at this point. If after many years we continue to have this struggle, then we can talk more, or whenever you like actually, but I would not worry so much at this point of time. Uh, just keep noticing the tricks that it tries to play, and tries to give you physical alternatives to uh, that holiness which you feel. But the more you will experience that, you will see that it pretends to be an exchange, but it really isn't. It really cannot offer the pristine nature of the love that we feel in our heart. No matter what experience we have in the body, that is not really replicatable. So you're spotting that more and more, and that itself will take care of the mental, psychological aspect of it. So, but I won't make a thing out of it really.
Yeah, that's what the temptation is, to make a thing out of it. And I feel that it's because of the environment that I was in. It's a very crazy place, very crazy, and which I, in a way, I also feel like it's also God's grace to be in that environment, because of the craziness of the place, they allowed something.
Yeah,
Everything is doing something.
exactly.
So but also like I say that when I'm like in my heart sometimes, as well as apart from this, there's also, because sometimes you say that anything that is perceivable is not true, because in the sense that it comes and goes like that. I don't know how I'm gonna ask this. Is there a difference between inner, like the perceiving in the heart, and that what you just call perceiving, like how, because in the perceiving of the heart, this doesn't really seem like solid. Like this, right? It doesn't seem solid, and but it's still a perceiving. So like it's like something is seeing out. Like I could, it's just like now there is like a seeing that there's a speaking happening, and maybe something inside, because something tries to. Because I know that the only way I can be true to you is to speak from this place,
Yeah,
and so there's it's still a sort of perceiving as well,
yeah,
and there is like an, I don't know if this is the right word, like an awareing, like a sort of, it's just it's there, and at the same time there's still something that is doing it. And sometimes even like in the, when I turn to God, because sometimes it feels like I start with like the prayer, um or sometimes like I start the prayer, I just say, um I don't know, so it's not something that I like plan to do, it just like happens by itself, where I just start to speak to God like that, and I just find myself in that.
yes,
I don't know, I just find myself in that, and somehow naturally something is like the, like this, like the this thing is so hard to speak. It's like the sort of the light that you speak about,
yeah,
like the thing that you actually, something is being cooked,
yeah,
something is happening, like a kind of, the only way I can put it is when you put your hand like that. That's the only like way that it seems like that is happening. But at the same time, there is like an awareness of that. So something is trying to stay in, because whenever I hear like what you speak, when you say like anything that is perceived, not to hold on. So they seem to be not holding on even to like um a sense of the holiness itself. There's a honoring of it, and a gratefulness towards it because it's so pure. Um, but at the same time, there is also like a sort of, it's happening within something that is on, I cannot speak about. That's what I feel to say. It's happening inside, in that somehow. And I just wanted to tell you this, and to ask, that's why I was asking you this, like a difference in what you mean when you speak of perceiving, the sense of perceiving.
yes, okay, thank you. Very good, very good. Thank you. Beautiful question. So, and hopefully, I've got a sense of what you're asking. You can correct me if I'm going in the wrong way. So, uh, in sleep state, there is no danger of anything, no perception, no, not even I am, maybe just the gentlest sliver of I am in the sleep state. So no trouble. When waking state comes, perceptions become unavoidable, isn't it? That we are perceiving, even if we close our eyes, we are perceiving dark, empty. If we close our eyes, we are perceiving imagination, we are perceiving memory, we are perceiving thoughts. So perception is happening. Now, God in His mercy, the way I like to look at it is, God in His mercy has given us a refuge in the waking state as well. You see? Which is this refuge of the heart temple, of the doorway to the heart temple. So, there, although perception continues to happen, it is safe. There is nothing, because more and more our other faculties are being drawn inwards towards this. Then the mind is not labeling, the narrative is not forming. So, the only other refuge that comes close to this being there is that if we are there and our eyes are open, like Akshay was saying earlier, that eyes are open, but we are just in God's presence, we are in the heart temple, no danger, there's nothing, although our outer functioning is happening, we are still immersed in that holy place. That is one. The only other one, it's not really other, but if you have to put in words, you can say that we just leave everything unlabeled, uninterpreted. Attention is free and everything is left uninterpreted. You see, that's also a refuge, nothing, no harm in allowing that perception to unfold. Now, there is nothing fundamentally, like when we say that which changes is not real, and all the sages have said that, it is not like what do we mean by real then? So it is just a way of framing so that we come to some point where we go beyond that which is just perceived. You see? Otherwise, this whole, like, even the definition of real and unreal is perceived, therefore is unreal. I mean, you can take it to absurd levels and just make ourselves intellectually seem smarter or something like that, although it's a very dumb thing to say. But what was the intention behind this category of saying that which changes is unreal and that which doesn't change is real? The intention was to bring us to that doorway, because we are just so obsessed with all this changing stuff that we never pay attention to anything more than that. So to put it in the category of unreal then is helpful, mean that don't get attached to it, none of it is real anyway. It's like a dream. But then if you really looked at it, you would wonder what the category real even means or unreal even mean. So it is fundamentally saying that truth, the capital T, again we can do the same experiment with that also. It's bringing us to that which is beyond measurability, empirical nature of things. It's bringing us to that greater truth in the heart. No? So that was the intention. Now, if we make a too strong a position about it and say that I will never take anything that is appearing to be real, then which I are we talking about in the first place? Which I, that I am which woke up within you, is then projecting all of these perception. You see? So when we say this Ananta or this one that is here will not give any truth value to anything that is appearing, that the fundamental basis of that itself is wrong, because we are taking a perception and saying this one will no longer take any perception to be reality. So can we not take this one to be reality? So many times it's simpler to say that if you're not adding things to your narratives, if you're just remaining empty, or even simpler, if you're just remaining in God's presence, allow it to unfold. Then you don't have to get into this constant categorization. This is real, this is unreal. When it's God's outpouring of love and light from the heart, sometimes that's also perceived. The outpouring is, although the Atma is on the cusp, but the outpouring is, so what to do with the outpouring of that love? What to do with that light which appears holy in our heart? So we don't become fanatical about it. As long as we remain in God's presence and we're not adding anything to the narrative of the me, we are all right. Things all right. And like you rightly said, that even the doorway, even the darshan of the Atma, even the Saguna, all of that is happening within the greater quote unquote space of the Nirguna, isn't it? It's not this kind of space, but the Nirguna is primal to all of this. So then does that mean that we should just throw the darshan of the Atma also into the basket of meaninglessness? Can't do that. We can't do that. Not at this stage at least, or not at maybe at any stage.
Pastor, the name of God is such an anchor.
Exactly.
Like it's such an anchor. And it's so amazing that it actually responds to. Like it's like a response to it. Like something responds to that.
Absolutely.
And it's true. It's not like I feel like I couldn't believe that this is actually true. One told
Yeah.
me, yeah. It's true.
I was just going to make a warning today saying that sometimes I just feel like I'm just going to start dancing in the middle of satsang, saying, Lord, you've given us your name. You have given us your name. I feel like dancing. You have given us your name. What a thing to have. What a gift to give us. You see? It is beyond fathoming. And I feel like I'm getting crazier as I'm getting older. So all this is you're forewarned. They also just before Diwan came with the question, I just feel like I'm going to start dancing now because Ramji's name is here. He's given us his name. He's given us his name. I just feel like it's such a gift. I'm so blessed. It's coming to me that I can understand why Ma Mirabai said, "Payo ji maine Ram Ratan Dhan payo." It's such a gift. No? It's a jewel, Ratan. The more you deepen in it, the more you will see the magnificence of it. And I'm just scratching the surface. And I'm not at all comparing myself to the great sage. I'm just saying that I'm just as her toenail, I'm seeing I'm getting the slightest sense of what she must have felt when she composed that. I'll give you an example. The one very sweet, we were doing this walking satsang thing on Wednesday, and one sweet child, she joined our group, and she had this sense of openness about her, and she participated. Then we went into walking toward the temple. Some parts of it became a bit dark, or maybe she had some other appointment. So, uh, so she left, and I was feeling like, oh, I wish we had her name or her number, some contact like that. Now we have God's name. You see, He has given us His contact. We may feel some sense of loss if somebody you feel like you resonated with, you don't have a way to contact them. No? But what a gift we have, which is that we have God's name. And that is His contact information. We don't need any other what do they call, coordinates. It's a hotline to Him. I'll find better words as we go along, but the greatness of this gift which is with us is astounding.
Thank you so much, Pastor.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks for allowing me to be nobody, because in this nobodiness, in this emptiness, is this true? Like,
Yes. Let's go to Samia. Sorry. Let's go to Amol first.
So, Father, I'm still not seeing the name from what you are seeing, Father. So that's for sure. And there's always a doubt what mind plays when it comes to Naam Jap is I still don't know Ram, so what I'm japping about, right? So still
I
don't
still
know
don't know.
God. So is it first the knowing of God, and you have said this 110, but still, Father, feels like when you give the analogy of mango, feels like I know mango more than I
Yeah.
know God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very easy to relate
Yeah.
mango jap and
Yeah.
taste the mango, but as with the name
Okay,
itself.
say Ram, tell me what happened.
I'm at so it cannot say that, Father. It's different.
When I asked that, I could see his face, his mind is like, he's trying to trap you with that question. He's trying to trap you. Don't get into it. But the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So, are you saying nothing happens when you say Ram?
So I started my question with that mind is playing, Father, but
Huh?
that's mind is playing this, but it is very strong that whenever it has to. So first is it's in Maya, so we are lost, right? But when I'm in God, remembering God, at that time it is playing that you don't know God. Whom are you remembering?
Exactly.
So even if it's not lost in Maya, it's still playing his God, Father, and
And when you say God's name, what happens? He knows, he knows. बस ये जो दवाई है ना खाते जाओ बस सोचना नहीं है
still not the wow factor which you have. I don't have.
तो मुझे सुनने नहीं आते ना फिर तुम लोग हाँ? Thank you. If I hadn't walked that tiny centimeter more, like a older brother, just that 1 millimeter more, then what is the value of coming and meeting? Okay, let's go to Samir.
Hi, Father.
Hello, Macha.
Hello, hello. Um, Thank you so much for being here, Father.
Welcome, my dear.
Um, Sorry, I'm just a little bit burning, and I just need a little time. Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm burning. I don't know about what exactly, but I was in a retreat with Guruji, and I'm just so grateful for that, of course. Probably just the light of the retreat, just before the retreat, something happened, and the retreat just ended, Father. And as soon as it ended, again, something happened. But I want to say that I'm just so grateful for that grace that, like, it just happened on time while I have so much support. And it just ended, but the thing came, which is very powerful, but now I have you. And I'm just so grateful that grace working in that way. I'm just so grateful, Father. First, I need to just offer my gratitude. Yeah, just thank you so much that God holds me in that way. But at the same time, of course, just burn me. Even though I don't know what exactly is that, but at least I don't know, Father. Maybe the first question, when the burning comes, should we know what it is about, or it just burning is enough, like it's making its way and all this stuff? Because for one thing, at least, I was trying to find what it is before what happened before retreat, but somehow I cannot find like exact answer, because sometimes we can know what it is about, but this time it was blur. And yeah, this is the question, like, do we really need to know what it is about, or it's just burning and it's doing its way? So this is the first question.
Yes, my child. Thank you for that. So, when I started sharing satsang, I would have answered maybe a little differently. I would have said that only the unreal can be burnt, so allow the burning to happen. As I've grown or regressed, maybe some of you may feel I've regressed, but something feel like I've grown. I feel like there's a heart sense of auspiciousness about that which is a holy burning. You see, there's a heart sense of auspiciousness, although it may be like painful, it may be difficult, but you know that this is bitter medicine, but it's good for me. Then there's another thing which hurts us, and maybe I don't know if you're including that in burning, but when your heart is showing you that this is not auspicious, this is, your heart is feeling hurt, it is not pleasing to God, and that kind of burning is quite painful. So if it is your heart showing you that something is not pleasing to God, then then that we can stay with the heart more and more and allow it to guide us as to what needs to be changed. But if it is that strong bitter medicine, but you know in your heart that this is good for me, good for it to burn, then it is completely fine. It is in fact very important for that to get burned.
Um, um, I think bitter one include the other one, but yeah, I think there are things which needs to be changed, like not so clear. I don't know, it just hurt me a lot, Father. Uh, I don't know what it is exactly, Father. Maybe that's my struggle, but it's obvious that I don't know.
So we stay with that in our heart. We stay with that with patience and faith. And God slowly, He knows the best timing for what has to be brought to the surface, what has to be revealed to us. So unfortunately we can't push that, because when we try to rush into concluding, then many times we get into the wrong conclusions. So just try to be so heartfelt about it and allow it to come from God's light, and then you will not fall into any wrong conclusion.
So one thing which is quite obvious for me, I just realized that, first you started to work with us, like removing the anger. No, first you allow me to express my anger, Father. You just made me so free about this, which was very good at that time. I'm so happy about this. But then you guided me on the path to all of us. You removed our anger and make us more humble and kind, and somehow not without force. It just happened here. But recently what I saw is that what happens, just removing the anger and all this stuff, at the same time, I feel like there are times when I just need to talk further as well. And in Amma's ashram, I experienced this also a lot. Like I was more embracing the path according to my understanding, of course, just to be silent. And I was experiencing also like silence was taking care of everything. I was just even giving a feedback, nothing. It was working, but in Amma's ashram, such things happen that even physically, not abuse me sexually, but physically, someone attacked me. And I was still silent. But I think it was Amma's work that I need to shut out and just to stop that. And at the end, I did this. And when I did this, people just put into their place and they just stopped. For two people, I need to do this too. So just being silent didn't work. Yeah, I was not so angry or hatred was coming from me, but at the same time, on this retreat also, Guruji talk. Some people need that. For some people, you need to also talk like they need this. And I think I'm just little bit lack of this, and I want to do this. Yeah, I when it is time. Yeah, this is like when it is time. I just want to be able to do this because it is also was my struggle, and yeah, this is my prayer. Of course, may God do this through me, and may it be a process which is somehow, I don't know if it is the word unconscious works here, but I don't want to be the one who do this, Father. I don't want to do this with effort. Just, yeah, when something needs to be said, may it be so. Yeah, all this thing. This is the thing. Because like at the end of the retreat, something happened and I feel like it needs to be addressed. Like just being silent doesn't work, and it is for my time for it to happen for me. Yeah, I'm so grateful you remove the anger here, but still life is going on and things needs to be addressed. This is one thing, and I'm asking for help on this.
Yes. If I may offer you something in this, the
Father,
remove.
just a second, because I
Yes, yes.
cannot hear you without this. Just a
I
second. And I don't want to miss you. Yes.
thank you. So, I was saying that thank you for what you shared, and if I may offer something uh, which hopefully may be helpful, is that the removal of anger should not get in the way of any holy action that needs to come from us in response to what life is showing us. So the removal of anger doesn't mean that we become static. The removal of anger means that we work from that holy place where the Atma is guiding us, where God is guiding us as to what is the right action to take. So in India, you know that the Lord Himself, Lord Krishna, told Arjun to fight when he said, "I don't want to fight." You see? But he said, "Fight with me as the guide, not your anger or not your pride as the guide." So if you take God to be your guide, if you take the Spirit to be your guide, then from there you know how the fight has to be fought. And the fight has to be fought when we attack the sin, we attack the block, we attack the lack of love, but we love the sinner. So we don't make it personal about somebody. We don't make it about a particular person, because we see that every one of our brothers and sisters in the world are in the same fight between the force of selfishness, the force of me, the force of pride, the force of ego, and the force of God's love, God's light, and the Holy Spirit, the Atma within. So our attempt always has to be to fight the darkness, to fight the selfishness, to fight the pride, but loving the one who is afflicted with that disease. Can we continue to love the one who is afflicted with that disease? Because if you don't love the one who is afflicted by that disease, you will put yourself in the position of not being empathetic, but somebody who is higher and correcting somebody who is lower. You see? But if you treat everyone with God's love, then in brotherly and sisterly love, we can look at what may afflict a brother or sister without making it that the person is a bad person, that one expression of consciousness is somebody who is bad. So that is not the idea. So when you respond to worldly situations from the heart, it may look like you're fighting back, but your intention is to bless, is to heal, is to love. It is not to attack another. It is to help them see a block, a darkness that they may have, and if your heart is guiding you to that, I am fully with you in that. But make sure that you're following your heart about it. Make sure that your intention is to love and to heal, although it may need for something to be spoken up, you see, but not to put anyone else down, or not to say that you know better, or anything like that, but just that you notice something which may be blocking the heart of a brother or sister, and that in the spirit of love you want to help them heal through that.
Can you hear me like this, Father? Is
Yes.
it good? Okay, then I will continue like this. Not for me. Okay, so I hear you, and also the last song you mentioned about this, like loving the sinner, but attacking the sin, something like this. I don't know. And it catch me also in the last satsang that I hear you, because I was burning with this. So I don't want to explain, but okay, I can say that after you removing me, of course I love people. I don't want to explain that, Father, okay? It's not about like, I feel like the time come for me. Of course, God know, but if I may attack the sin, but loving the sinner, because I can't do this. I love this sinner and I don't say a thing, but now it doesn't work. Like, I don't know. Like it's kind of like God knows if it is my time to be able to do this, I'm asking for this help. Like, okay, this is probably what those experiences brought to me, because before the silence was working, but recently it doesn't. So I feel like, and when I hear this from you, my time has come for this, because it doesn't work anymore. And it hurts me also, Father. Like, if I may share, yeah, also I have still feelings, and I feel very hurt because I'm not doing anything, but I'm blamed, and it went so crazy, and it was just so crazy. And I have compassion for myself as well. I don't know, sometimes we cannot figure out, but I think I'm just overall I'm asking for help. And one more thing that I realized also within myself related with this, I don't feel like it's in the context of being humble and arrogant, but I find that I I behave smaller, Father, than what I am. But I feel like it's not about being, as I said, context of being humble or arrogant. I just act small, and I don't like it. I don't want to do it anymore. So I just
It's
wanted
like
to offer
what I'm
that.
hearing is that you can hear me?
Yes, yes, thank you. Yes.
What I'm hearing, and may it be so, that you don't want to hide your light anymore. You don't want to hide what your heart is guiding you to anymore. You don't want to, uh, like if you said that it's about taking yourself to be lower, but not in the sense of arrogance or arrogance, pride, or humility, then the only way I see it is that you're seeing it in a way that you're stifling your heart, that you're putting your heart down. But and that if that is the case, then I'm fully with you. You should not put your heart down. You should not trample on your own light of God's presence.
May I add on to this, Father, first? I think it has many, many levels, but as soon as I realize, sometimes, especially in the past, I realized that my silence and presence is just too strong, and I was not able to handle with this. Like, something greater than me was working on the field, and it was too much. Like, I don't know what was it, but it was working to me. I was not able to handle. So I learned to shut out this if I could. Anyway, now I'm more relaxed about this because everything works so gracefully, and so many miracles, of course, happen. But at the same time, one thing is that after sharing that, I try to be more friendly with people, because one thing is that, but yeah, I'm shutting down on my light on this. I became more like child, but at the same time, it also affect my shutting down my light. I'm not so clear on this, but I just spoke them out. For now, just this, I think, yeah. For people to feel more relaxed, Father, but at the same time, I don't like it as well.
Yes, I see what you mean. I I have also done that in the past many times, and I am also learning to not be led by that, to always be led by my light. I am also learning that. So we learn this together, and we learn to do it with patience and love as much as possible, and see where God takes us. But I can relate to what you're saying. Many times I will pick non-conflict over the light that is here. So I'm also learning to not do that as much.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, you can still give me what you learned, because you're ahead of me. Bless me with this.
Tiny bit. And even when I say that, my blessing always is that may all of my children go leagues and light years ahead of this foolish man. That is always the intention. But because God has put Himself in this heart to share these pointers with all of you to grow in His light, I'm very grateful for that opportunity in my life as well. Okay, bless you, my child. Let's go to Aniko.
Thank you, Ananta-ji.
Very welcome.
Yes, I just wanted to share that for the few weeks or maybe weeks, I don't know why, but I felt just a bit of distance towards satsangs.
Yeah.
And it's really, I don't know, it surprised me as well, because so far it was the most urgent and important in my life, and I don't want to have this distance. And now I just came up to, just for a second, to deeply meet you, Ananta-ji.
I can understand. I can understand also. I can see that usually itself it is very difficult to remain in satsang, because the mind offers us resistance. The mind wants us to run away from the reality of God. But I can imagine how it must be so much more difficult for all of you, because this expression is changing, the pointers are changing, the texture is changing, so many changes. I'm so sorry I put you through, as I am going through myself in my life. So I do feel that that can add to the resistance and wanting to run, because we start to feel like we are getting a handle on what is happening, we're getting a handle on the spiritual project, and then this man comes and starts talking about some other things, and what this sage said and what that sage said. So I can imagine how it must not be easy for all of you, and thank you for bearing with me and bearing with my foolishness and silly ways. But someday,
Ananta-ji is about not about only this, but it's about me as well, that there comes some idea, and I believe that okay, now is enough, and I can maybe just be myself, something like this. And really something give the way for this, because I felt after the last time I talked to you and you prayed for me, and after I just felt so good in every way, and I just went to a lots of time to the nature, and it's beautiful now in here is spring, and I just enjoyed so much moment outside there, and also yes, Anantaji, I don't know, I just don't want to get far at all in any way, and
Yes, I understand. Thank you. Thank you for sharing openly. And just my only submission, my only request to all of you, you and all of you, is that it is not so important to be in this satsang, but it is very important not to fall into any maya. So just as long as I feel safe that all of you children are not getting into any maya, and you're well taken care of, and you're deepening in your love and light in your heart, then this satsang is just one tiny thing happening in this vast universe. There's so much happening. So it's not so important. But I am also aware of the force of Maya which wants you to not deepen in your love for God. So just as long as you promise me that you are not getting into any of that, then it's all right. It's all fine by God's grace. It's all good.
I do promise everything to you, Anantaji. I just don't know if I can keep it, or I just hope, because sometimes I don't know. I sometimes it just came something and convinced me that this is the same way as Anantaji lead us, and after a while I find that no, this is not at all, and I am still more safe if I am in your company instead of to
Yes. What we can
just
do sometimes as an experiment is that uh, even if you don't want to, just continue for a few days, you see, when you don't want to, and then if it is Maya usually doesn't have too much patience, so it will be found out fairly quickly. uh, but what happens is that once you conclude to yourself that I don't want to be in satsang anymore, I'm okay by myself, and now I learned everything that I needed to, I can just work on it in my heart myself, then many times without realizing, uh, we get stuck in wanting to be right about that. You see? So I want you to just be a little vigilant about that. And I also want you to know that it doesn't matter at any point of time if you felt like you don't want to be in satsang, but you want to come back. It is always your home. You're always welcome here. I am not tracking who's attending, who's not attending. Of course, I see the faces, so I can't stop myself from seeing that. But there is no spreadsheet tracking who is a regular attendee, who is irregular. I'm just trying to allow to my little capacity God to share from this mouth, and this is always your home. There's no trouble like that. So don't ever feel that if you have stopped coming for a few weeks, you can't come back, and what will I think of you, or any of that thing. You don't ever have to worry about that.
yes, I know this, Anantaji. I just more and more I see that really I don't know anything, and sometimes it just scare me, because sometimes it's just good to have an idea that just I do some, just I know just something, just some little things, and I can catch it. And when I see that no, is not true, I how can I know anything? And it can be really really shocking, even after a time when I feel so nice, and I believe that yes, because I don't know, I reached something, or and after I see no, I didn't reach anything. Is nothing about me, and also is sometimes also is scary that I have to give everything, uh, everything, and I cannot keep really anything. And sometimes it's really relaxing and gives so much relief that other time is just
Yes.
so fearful and is kind of like a funeral or for myself. And sometimes I just feel this time that God, I really have some things that I like in myself, but I didn't think before, and I see that no, I cannot keep anything, and maybe this thought pull me back sometimes.
Whatever is good in us comes from God, and that will only grow as you deepen in God. And whatever is pride in us, whatever is keeping us from His love and light, can safely be given to Him. We don't need to. So there is good in
Yes,
all of us, but that
yes.
good will only grow with God. So you don't have to worry about that.
I mean, I just cannot believe this anything about good is anything about me.
Yes,
Like is nothing about me, and yeah,
that's
yeah.
exactly what I'm saying. Also, it is just God's gift, and that will only grow
Yeah.
as we deepen in His love. Yes.
Yes, Anantaji, Anantaji. I wish to be more humble, and yeah, I don't know how to do that really. Sometimes I see myself so proud, Anantaji, so proud, so full
It
with
is.
pride, and
Yes. It is. It depends on the company that we keep. You see? So if we keep the company of the mind, we become more proud. If we keep the company of the spirit, we become more humble. Because whichever company we keep, that is contagious on us. Now you might find it very strange, but if you really look at it, more humble than all of us is God. He's the humblest one. He waits for us with immense patience. He doesn't push us, he waits for our consent. Prayer is when we consent to be with Him. You see, so the Lord of the universe Himself is the most humble one, and the more time we spend with Him, we learn to become humble ourselves. So, but the more the mind, which is nothing, the me doesn't even exist in any tangible way. That non-existent one, its narrative is the most proud one. So the more time we spend with that, the prouder we become. The more time we spend with God, the humbler we become. So it all depends on the company that we keep. So the great Indian sage Tulsidas ji talked about kusang and satsang. Kusang is bad company, so it is not necessarily externally bad company. You know? But internally also, if we keep bad company, which is our prideful thoughts, our mind, then we pick up that. But if we keep the company of God, keep the company of the Holy Spirit, then we become humbler and humbler.
yes, Anantaji, yes, yes, I am, and this is why I need you, because it's easy to be with you like this, but after when something come up in my life, and just straight away I go to the opposite direction and not in your direction, and is still very strong in inside. So thank you for being in my life, Anantaji.
Thank you too for being in my life. Thank you. Yes. Okay, last one. Radhe Shyam ji.
राम राम जी फादर।
Ram Ram ji, Ram Ram.
कोटि कोटि प्रणाम आपके चरणों में।
बहुत धन्यवाद आपका, और मेरा पूरा आशीर्वाद आपके साथ है हमेशा। आपने मुझसे पूछा था कि मैं आपसे बिना वजह इतना प्रेम क्यों करता हूँ, है ना? आपने ये पूछा था कि बिना
हाँ
वजह।
हाँ
तो और मेरे हृदय में ये आया कि एक्चुअली प्रेम तो वजह के बिना ही होता है ना। अगर मैं आपसे
हाँ
वजह की वजह से प्रेम करता तो वो तो स्वार्थ होगा, वो प्रेम तो नहीं होगा।
हाँ। आज रामनवमी भी है।
हाँ हाँ, बहुत आपको रामनवमी की शुभकामनाएं आप सब लोगों को, सब लोगों। राम जी की कृपा बनी रहे बस। All my love to all of you.